I am host Millie Tamares.
And I'm your host, Elise Morales.
And this is the Touch Grass Podcast, an always online comedy podcast where we log in so you can log off.
Wow. And log off you should.
Log off you should.
Put your phone on Do Not Disturb.
D&D, baby.
I downloaded an app called Freedom that makes, I can block Instagram.
An app called Freedom, it's already giving a little white supremacist, but we'll...
But you know what? If it's white supremacy, but you're free from Twitter. We can't start the podcast with this.
Okay,
but what I
will
will say is it's a good app.
It's a good app. Okay, so it locks Twitter for you?
It locks any website, any distracting website that you want. It'll lock you out for a certain amount of time. It's good enough that I might even pay for the premium version.
Damn.
I might even pay.
Like, I got my how many hours I was on TikTok last week numbers, and it was pretty brutal.
TikTok is shocking.
TikTok is rough because there's a girl who does recaps of Teen Mom. Like, she does one Teen Mom she'll pick, and she'll cover 11 years of their life. 11 years of their life in like a few hours. Anyway, Elise.
Yeah.
I'm going to start our first episode with a little game.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this tweet by @writer_bitch with an X, I guess, is called "Y'all dragging it, LOL, laughing my ass off. She's not famous enough for anything, especially singing, to do all this." And this is because people were appalled that this person didn't acknowledge a certain person. So she says,
okay,
you guys are over exaggerating. This person's not famous enough for anything.
Okay.
So who do you think this is about?
Okay, let me make sure I understand the details. This person is a singer.
Mm-hmm. Or famous.
This person is music adjacent?
He can be, yes.
Okay. Can be music. I feel like I'm playing the most like insane Guess Who. Can be music adjacent. And she did not acknowledge someone else who's famous?
Oh, sorry. I have to explain this better.
Okay.
There's a random girl on Twitter. It's like, I didn't know this person did this. And then everyone's like, yeah, of course she does. This famous person does this.
Okay.
And then this girl was like, she's not that famous. So I want you to tell me, who is she referring?
Okay.
This not that famous person. And this is on Black Twitter. So the clue I'll give you is that this is a woman who's Black.
Okay. And
quote, not that famous.
And not that famous and is music adjacent.
Just give out a guess of someone.
Rita Ora?
Rita Ora, interesting. Rita Ora is not Black at all. She's like bulked from the Balkans.
Okay, well, that's something new I learned about Rita Ora.
Yeah, exactly. You know what, though? White people named Rita already throwing you off. I get it. And I thought she was at least Puerto Rican, but she's not. The person in reference that this tweet is about is Queen Latifah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes sense because she is music adjacent.
She is music adjacent. She was famously in an Oscar-winning musical, Chicago.
That was a big movie at my house.
Yes,
okay?
And what was that not one of the biggest songs on?
Yeah,
to me, that I know that song. Like that's one of the,
When You're Good to Mama. That is a very good one. And Queen Latifah is very famous. She's
very famous.
She just sang the national anthem at a football game that my husband was watching.
Wow. Husband talk.
Yeah. I know what's going on in football now because of my husband.
Oh, interesting. Well, there you go. This person was like, that's not even so. According to this
writer
bitch X whatever, Queen Latifah's not even that famous, even though she's been in 8,000 rom-coms.
Yeah, and I feel like she maybe has an Oscar. She's done Christmas movies. I feel like she's done every single thing that you can do to be like considered an A-list person. She's checked off really every box.
And that is the conceit of this podcast, Elise, is that some people online are out of their goddamn minds.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it.
And they need to get out there and watch a Queen Latifah movie, okay?
Watch a Queen
Last
Latifah.
holiday,
I saw Last Holiday in theaters in my very Black and Latino hometown. And I watched like opening night Last Holiday, which you wouldn't think is so crazy. And there's only things that, an audience of Black women watching a certain movie will bring things to your attention that I didn't notice that there were so many times in that movie that LL Cool J would just look straight into camera and lick his lips.
He really does a lot.
And the audience would go like, wow!
He really does a lot.
Like, wow, he does the most. And it's not as like, whatever. There's some chemistry and cute, whatever. It's not a sexual movie at all, but LL Cool J's feeding that implied sexuality.
You know what I will say also on the subject of Last Holiday?
Mm-hmm.
You know who loves Last Holiday?
Your
Deborah
mom?
Morales.
Your
yes,
mom.
exactly.
Your mom.
She
That's
loves Last Holiday.
That's a mom movie.
Yeah, she loves to say, Chef Didier, you crazy.
Oh boy. Speaking of crazy, Elise, here's another thing I want to talk to you about.
Okay, yeah, kick us right off.
Spotify recently generated songs based on people's listening preferences titled The Crying Mix. So it's songs that each person who has a Spotify account has their own custom playlist of songs that they can cry to.
Okay.
Everyone has it if you're a Spotify. So I'm going to ask you really quickly to share what are the top 5 songs in your Spotify
playlist.
Because, as you know, people on Twitter, platform formerly known as Twitter
X.
aka X, so there's this trending meme that says you versus the first 5 songs of your Spotify crying playlist that tracks.
Okay, that's interesting because I actually do have 2 songs that I cry to right when I need to cry.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if Spotify has clocked it.
Okay.
Let's see.
And while you're sharing, I'm going to share my first 5 songs. So it's Bags by Clairo. Not necessarily something I would cry to, but whatever. Night Shift by Lucy Dacus. Sure. I Don't Smoke by Mitski. That's pretty fucking... okay, I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Algorithm, you got me. Ballad of a Homeschool Girl, Olivia Rodrigo. That song just came out.
Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been enough time.
There isn't been enough time, but sure. And then there's a song called 2 a.m. by Sarah Crean. So, Millie loves a good female vocalist and crying to that. At least tell me about yours.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say is my 2 top crying songs are not in my crying mix. The songs that I cry, no. I don't see them anywhere on here. The songs that I will go to cry to are the Adele Go Easy on Me. Adele Go Easy on Me. And then Still Hurting from the musical The Last 5 Years.
All right.
And there is musical representation on here, but it's not that song.
Okay.
So number 1 is Happier Than Ever, but the Kelly Clarkson version of the Billie Eilish song. The next is Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, which has been out for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
but
that's good. That's good.
That one is a good one. And I think if I were like in the midst of a breakup, I would shed a tear. Michael in the Bathroom, which is from a musical. And I have listened to that song a lot, but I don't cry to it. What Was I Made For? The Billie Eilish Barbie song. That is a sad song.
That's a sad song, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's that TikTok trend of people just like earnestly putting their own childhood videos. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
People put like pictures of themselves as a child over that. And I'm like, when I see just a random person doing that, I'm like, are you okay?
No, they're never okay.
When did it end? I'm like, you can have fun at any age.
That's so...
please just...
I know. These people are... I mean, they're people who like... I was at an audition that I haven't even told you yet that was insane for that person that was insane that I'm not going to name.
You can guess at home. Play. Who is this about?
Who is this about? Play along with us.
An audition for a thing for a person who was insane.
Yeah. No, the person's not insane. The audition was insane. But there is this 21-year-old girl who I'm assuming she was at least 21 because she was talking about hanging out at the levee. So you already know that it's giving 21 just came to New York a month ago. She literally did. And she was saying like, oh, there's this girl who's a big loser who's 26. She's so old.
And you're just like, okay. Thank you. And just for the listeners, we're 22.
Yeah, for sure.
So
if you're my agent, I'm 22.
And I can play 15. So
one time this person was like, I'm like, yeah, I can play like a high schooler. And then someone was like, yeah, you totally can play a high schooler. Maybe a high schooler who like dropped out because they got pregnant when they were young and they had to like go back, enjoy, do high school all over again. And I'm like, okay, that's the premise of the Parker starring Monique. Yeah. 1 and 2, fuck you.
Yeah, you can play a high schooler, just not like a smart one who finished high school in a timely kind of fashion.
Maybe one a high schooler who actually is 25 years old but is doing an undercover report.
Absolutely.
And gets her first kiss on a baseball field.
Absolutely. A Drew Barrymore situation.
Moore.
Okay, and the last song, the last of my number 5, just to get back to it, is a song called Winner by someone named Conan Gray, and I've never listened to this song once in my life.
Wow, you see Spotify's trying to algo. That's the payola. Winner Gray's payola is trying to get it in there.
Spotify should know by how many times I have listened to that Adele song and the last 5 years song just kind of back to back over and over again that something's going on there, and it should have known to put it in the playlist. So I would say to Spotify, fix your algorithm.
Fix your algo. Now, speaking of algo, Elise, let's get into the Discourse, which is our segment where we talk about and unpack discourse online.
Yeah, something that has been on the For You page, etc. So my contribution to the Discourse today, this is something that truly took over my entire For You page for over a month. And I think that it is uniquely kind of suited to my interests. So I'm going to start with this. Millie, what do you know about a young actress named Rachel Zegler?
Can I say that for the longest time, admittedly, as a Latina, as an Afro-Latina, I will say this. I thought I mixed her and Jenny Ortega up a lot.
You know what? I forgive you for that because
I think you called me out.
I forgive you for that because she and Jenna Ortega are very similar, though I would say that Rachel Zegler is going more wholesome and Jenna Ortega is kind of
smoking cigarettes outside.
Yeah, she's becoming a little more
moody Latina core.
Artsy. But anyway, so Rachel Zegler, she's a half Latina theater girl with a bob. Obviously on my radar. So she was plucked out of obscurity by Steven Spielberg to star in his adaptation of West Side Story. Basically, she posted this video of her singing Shallow that was really, really good. And he saw it. And then she became Maria in West Side Story.
Honestly, and people like that movie a lot.
She was really good in it. I thought it was a little long. I just think
people hate editors. I don't know why.
I don't know what's going
what's going on.
We can do a whole other, this is a whole other
Discourse.
Soapbox for me. This is a different discourse, but movies are too long. Movies are getting to be too long. We'll put a pin in that for another episode.
And the thing is, I'll watch a TikTok and I'm like, they could have edited this out. So a 2.5 hour movie, I'm already like,
right. On. If your movie is the same length as a musical, that's a problem because a musical has an intermission.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to say. But anyway, she's in the West Side Story adaptation. Mm-hmm. She's really good. Stars on the rise. Mm-hmm. She's in those Shazam movies. Yeah.
And when you asked about why is she in the Shazam thing, she's like, I needed a job.
Yes. Which is okay. So good that you're aware of her kind of interviewing persona. She's also in the upcoming Hunger Games movies. But the thing that has got TikTokin, do you like that? I wrote that. The thing that has got TikTok, Millie hates it. If you guys could see her face. The thing that got TikTokin about Rachel Zegler is
TikTok talking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. See, here we go, listeners. This is what I'm bringing to the table. So she has been cast as Snow White in the upcoming live action Snow White movie, which also has Gal Gadot as the evil queen. And the 7 dwarfs have been turned into there's only one dwarf and the rest are 7 other kind of magical entities, which they did to appease Peter Dinklage. That's a whole other discourse.
That's a whole other discourse.
The movie,
so much discourse.
Perhaps cursed from the beginning is all I'm going to say. Not a lot of amazing details about the new Snow White movie. But anyway, so old videos basically resurfaced on TikTok about a month ago.
Scary. I'm already scared. Because old videos of celebrities.
It's never good.
There's an N-word coming.
Okay, so no, she doesn't do we're going more cringe than racist. Thank God for Miss Zegler.
Who hasn't?
So anyway.
Been cringe. Again, as an Afro-Latina, I can't say the N-word, but that's a different discourse.
That's a different discourse. Put a pin in that discourse. That's a different discourse. So, old videos of Rachel Zegler, they're from this big Disney convention that they do every year called, like, this one was called the D23, and it's basically where they like show all their new properties. And Rachel Zegler is there, and she's doing all of these interviews. And Rachel Zegler has, as you discussed, kind of this like, I think like Jennifer Lawrence-y persona that she tries to put on the red carpet of being like, that pizza.
I'm so awkward. I farted. I don't think that's too far for J-Law, but yes.
Yeah, but like, oops.
I'm a real girl.
I'm being honest, quirky and honest. So this video comes out and people really don't like it. I'm going to play this video for you now. It's her and Gal Gadot on like the red carpet of D23 talking about the Snow White movie.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
So that's the video. Initial reactions.
Yes, it is not 1930 anymore, and that sounds interesting to me because sometimes they remake this shit and it's like, it's a clear money grab for Disney. But to hear that they're going to do something different, it's like, okay, maybe this is worth watching.
So basically this video is from a year ago. And I think the initial reaction to this video was literally nothing. People were fine. But for some reason, TikTok picks this video up and people hate it. They hate Rachel Zegler in it. I think they don't like the way she goes, it's not 1937. I don't think they like the vocal affect that she puts on
the vocal fry.
Yeah, they think she's cringy, and it starts this is phase one of the discourse, is people talking about how not all the Disney princesses need to be girl bossified, and why do we have to do this with all the princesses, and it's okay to want love from the prince, and why are we doing this to Snow White, basically. So that's kind of phase one of this discourse. And for me, sure, it is interesting do we need to girl bossify all the princesses?
No, but also if you don't want a girl boss princess, then
you can watch the one from 1937.
Yeah, you can just watch that. Like,
yeah.
But for new girls.
Yeah, and also it's just interesting to me because I do feel like prior to this video, it would be like commonplace to be like, Snow White is an outdated movie that is weird. But for some reason, and it's something about Rachel Zegler. I think her like theater girl energy, people just really did not like this. And here's one thing I will say before I get on to the phase two of the discourse. As a theater kid myself, I will handle a lot of theater kid slander. I'll hear it. I won't take it from Disney adults.
No.
If you are a Disney adult who's watching the D3, if you have a pair of ears at your house, you can't talk shit about this little girl.
Something about my TikTok For You page, which is very different from yours.
Clearly?
It's clearly, because I have not heard one thing about it. A lot of it, okay, I will admit, and maybe it's because of this, if there's a video of somebody in a mascot or a cartoon, like costume twerking at an event or a kid's birthday party, I will watch it.
That will get to you.
And because of that, I feel like I get some Disney adult content, and it is a scary, scary world out there. They're talking about customizing their ears. They're talking about bar crawls at Epcot, which is like, yeah, okay, you paid $60 to get fucked up at this amusement park that barely has any rides. You could have just gotten fucked up in downtown Orlando, whatever. But it's a scary world out there with the Disney adults is what I'm going to acknowledge.
It is. And something about this video drummed up a well of feeling about Snow White that I did not know existed. Like, I'm watching videos where people are like, you don't have to girl bossify Snow White. She doesn't have to be brave. She's curious. She's thoughtful. She's a caretaker. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? She says 2 things in this movie. Her voice is like, wah, and like then she falls asleep.
Yeah.
Let's not do this with Snow White and be like, Snow White is actually a motherly figure, and
projecting.
It's very weird, and it drummed up a well of feeling about Snow White that I truly just did not know existed. So that brings us to phase 2 of the discourse. People are incensed about Rachel Zegler. They hate Rachel Zegler now. They start digging up more videos of Rachel Zegler talking about the Snow White movie and basically determine that they feel that she is not like sufficiently grateful to play Snow White. So
here we go.
I know. So here's another one.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
So, again, people... They don't like the tone. This is from the same event. She's wearing the same outfit.
Same outfit.
It's from the same exact event. People are like, she doesn't even like the movie. She said it was scary. How many years do you think it's been since you've watched Snow White?
Oh, it's been a long ass time. And there are scary things.
It is scary.
It is scary.
That's the thing, is that she's not fucking wrong. It is scary. If you look at stills from that movie when she's running around in the forest, her curiously running around in the forest, it's scary. And the ride that she's talking about at Disneyland is scary. They actually took it out of Disneyland. It's not there anymore because it was too damn scary.
I remember, like, in the GIF era, when everyone would put GIF replies, I loved GIF replies. And we say GIF.
Yeah, on this podcast, we say GIF.
We say GIF. So
sorry.
Don't
put a pin in that discourse.
Put a pin in that discourse. Because you don't give somebody a gift for their birthday. It's not a birthday gift. It's
That's
a
so
gift.
Important. That's so important to say.
So one of my favorite memes or GIFs from that movie is the witch laughing and the rain, and it's super scary.
She's
like
scary.
Ha 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 ha. And like I would, or like her like making a poison as the witch. I literally very famously in college put like me making jungle juice. Like
that's funny.
Because I would use Everclear.
That'll put you right to sleep.
Yeah,
too.
I know. And one time we made a jungle juice so strong, the styrofoam cups we got did disintegrate a little. So I did feel like that was scary. Yeah, it's scary.
That happens to the apple. When she puts the apple, I remember in Snow White, she puts the apple in her thing and it kind of disintegrates, and then you see like a death, like a skull and crossbones on it. It's a scary movie. In the ride, there's a part where she almost pushes a boulder on you and you almost die. They have had to take this ride out of the theme park because it was too scary. But people are like, Rachel Zegler hates Snow White. People start doing memes, character videos, Rachel Zegler talking about her next movie, and it's them being like, I hate my movie. It's
also giving a little bit racially coded in
yes.
You should be grateful for any opportunity you get.
Well, yes. And so that's another element of it. People also start making like edits where they show other actresses who've played Disney princesses talking about how grateful they are to play that Disney princess, whatever. Other actresses, I think Lily Collins and Kristen Stewart.
Collins?
They've both played Snow White, and they're like, see, they do like interviews with them where they're like, they loved Snow White.
Lily Collins is a fucking nepo. Her dad is Phil Collins. Like,
well,
of course she's happy to get anything.
And also the Snow White movies that they did weren't specifically based on the Disney movies, so they had a little more room to like. Rachel Zegler has to address this Disney movie when she's talking, and also these are clearly talking points that Disney gave her for her to be like, she's becoming the leader she wants to be. If as her late father told her to be, if she's fearless, fair, brave, and true. It's like, these are talking points from Disney. Disney told her to be like, she's not going to be saved by the prince, all of this stuff. So if you want to talk about the need for that, whatever, but the hate for this girl got crazy. And then goes to another level. People get even madder because this video comes out of her talking about the SAG strike, where she says this.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
I do think her point is a little weird there, that she's like, if I'm going to stand there in this dress, I deserve to be paid. But I get what she's saying.
I get it, because I'm sure that's not a comfortable getup. And you're really standing there in the elements. Acting is a hard job. It's a physical job, whatever. People don't want to admit that. And people are going to profit off of it forever in Disney. And she's saying that if she's going to put herself through this thing, then she deserves to get streaming. But of course,
people go crazy about this too. And yeah, I think the point that she's trying to make is like, if you are going to put me in this like iconic look and I'm going to take the mantle of this property, I deserve to be paid like I'm fucking Snow White.
Yeah.
If you're going to treat me like I'm the princess Snow White, your first ever princess that you put out, then I deserve to be paid. But people really don't like that. People really don't like that. So now the discourse has gotten crazy. It's a fever pitch. People are hating on this girl. So now we get to phase 3 of the discourse, which is kind of phase 3 of every discourse, which is the backlash to the backlash.
Okay, let's go. Let me hear it.
So some people finally start realizing maybe we're going a little hard on Rachel Zegler for Snow White for no reason. So I've got a series of tweets here from a gal at Julia Ann Cudney, where she goes, Miss Rachel Zegler should not be in such hot water over saying Snow White wasn't ahead of its time. True. It wasn't a childhood favorite of hers. Honest. And the remake is going to attempt more feminism, something that I think all the live action Disney princesses have said. I am reminded of the absurd treatment of Brie Larson and her introduction to the MCU, bogus body language readings, tone policing, etc. But the dogpile was mostly perpetrated by unabashed misogynists, where that backlash was mostly perpetrated by unabashed misogynists, where this one is supposedly in the name of feminism. There's absolutely a conversation to be had and has been had about Disney's motives, successes, and failures regarding their swings at girl power in live action remakes. But that's not the conversation you're having by attacking Rachel Zegler's character. So I mean, I feel like that's
a good summary.
Yeah, like that's spot on kind of to what was going on. People just decided they found this girl annoying, and then they were like, you're not sufficiently humble to play Snow White. And I'm
again, racially coded.
Yes.
And weird,
and I'm also just like, half of these people. Some of these people are truly weird Disney adults who I think actually do deeply care about Snow White.
Well, there's also people who bought the original when they decided to revamp Splash Mountain to make it Princess Tiana's like thing, because Splash Mountain, the song Zippity Doodah was about a slave really celebrating how happy he is to be a slave.
Well, he was thinking back, actually, let me dust off my Disney. He's actually a former slave who's thinking back to how great it was
when he was a slave.
And it's actually different.
So there's actual so they said, you know what? Maybe this is the year we change Splash Mountain. And they made it into Princess Tiana's, which is perfect. But also, they're not changing the fucking ride. Instead of the Splash Mountain little characters, they put in little frogs and fucking New Orleans shit, whatever, which is still cool and probably will be racist in 100 years, but we'll cross that when we get there. But there were fucking Disney adults buying and selling the bags of water. Mm-hmm. Remember when they're
Splash Mountain water.
This is the water. This is the real water from the Splash Mountain ride. And it was getting sold on eBay.
Risking getting your hand cut off by the animatronics in the water to get a bottle of dirty
Splash Mountain water that has saliva and piss in it.
Yeah.
Because it's Splash Mountain. There are always people complain about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Like they made it too woke because they took off literally indigenous people
actually, Millie, the thing that they removed from the Splash Mountain ride was a woman being sold at auction.
Oh wait, no, Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Sorry, Pirates of the Caribbean. The thing that they removed from Pirates of the Caribbean was a woman being sold at auction.
They also took away the indigenous people. But yes, exactly. So then people are like, it's too woke now. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So, and also people I think really, decided that she was annoying and they wanted to go for it. So
the
then,
Anne Hathaway treatment.
Yes.
And Brie Larson, they're like, Brie Larson. First of all, controversial take. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Captain Marvel, my favorite MCU movie.
Wow.
And I'll fucking say that.
Wow.
I'll fucking say that.
I don't engage.
You don't engage? I engage, and I'll say.
So I can't say.
One of my favorite MCU movies. And people, but it's also like, there's superhero movies. People are like, she's too stone-faced, blah, 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 blah. It's a fucking superhero movie. Like,
yeah. So basically, the way this kind of rounds out is the Disney PR machine starts chugging along. A new video is released of Rachel Zegler. It's actually like an older video again. All of these are old videos where she's talking about how grateful she is to be an actress. That starts circulating. Rachel Zegler sends out a couple tweets. She never addresses this directly, which actually could be because of the strike.
Yeah, like, she can't even talk about it anyway.
Yeah, she like can't even, all of this is going on and the poor girl can't even talk about the movie, right? But she just tweets out, I hope the world becomes kinder. I love you very much, forever and ever. Remember to be kind. Treat each other with patience and empathy. Remember you are loved unconditionally, no matter your mistakes, no matter your misunderstandings. You deserve it. You deserve love. You deserve to live without fear. So, Millie, verdict here. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who needs to touch grass?
I feel like anybody who has a yearly pass at Disney that doesn't live in the state of Florida or California needs to touch grass. Like you know what I mean? Like I very rarely will side with Disney adults.
Yeah, I just feel like if you are an adult and the words Snow White bring up kind of any emotion for you, might be time to touch grass. Honestly, and you can touch the grass at Disney World. Go to Main Street USA and touch your the happiest grass you can. But
there's
get
nothing
offline.
Inherently wrong with being a Disney adult. I know Disney adults. So there are those in my life that I really love and care about. But it is a dark gateway path to,
caring
darker
too
things,
much about something.
Too much. There's gangs in Disney adult gangs where they wear like certain patches and they go over. There's meetups. There's a lot of stuff. So I'm just saying, have your vacation, spend your vacation. I don't care. But I'm just saying, it does. You get too deep into any subculture.
Exactly.
And it gets a little weird.
I love a Disney park. I love experience-based rides. Yeah. I think as long as we're being light and fun, it's fine. But if you're literally watching videos of like a 20-year-old girl and being like, she's not grateful to play Snow White. Snow White is curious and wonderful. And I'm just like, you guys, she has like 4 lines in her own movie and they're all like, what? Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. like, please fucking calm down. She does not, there's no way. I haven't seen Snow White in 20 years. I don't think she says one thing about herself. No.
And like
an apple.
It's just not going to fly anymore. But these are the same people who hated Frozen because it was too woke. It's just like, grow up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is
my contribution.
Your contribution to the discourse. For my contribution this week, I wanted to discuss a tweet that was trending about this guy, Chase Geyser. Now, who is Chase Geyser? Do you know who this guy is?
Couldn't tell you.
Chase Geyser is a 32-year-old podcast host of the One American podcast, a podcast that, quotes, reinforces the values and ideals of America. Already,
I think our podcast reinforces the.
Well,
what does it mean? What does it mean?
Well, we're going to get into that. Now, if you want to picture what Chase looks like physically,
okay,
I want you to close your eyes and envision a straight white male podcast host.
Absolutely. Got it.
We got the glasses, everything.
Easily got it.
That is exactly what Chase Geyser looks like. Okay? He has almost 200,000 followers on the platform formerly known as Twitter. And he's a political commenter and shares his views, right?
Okay.
Now, what are some of Chase's views? Let's run down his most recent tweets. This one stood out to me. This is a tweet that he said. Although innocent people died on both January 6th and 9/11, The feds killed way more innocent people on 9/11. Therefore, 9/11 was indeed worse than January 6th. So, yes,
sorry.
Exactly.
I don't think that people's problem with January 6th is that they think it was worse than 9/11.
Well, he shared this tweet accompanying with this podcasting that said this conspiracy that a lot of the plane hijackers were CIA agents. So that's where he's going, right? That's just one of the things. So I just want you to think about who is Chase, right?
Okay.
Another thing, speaking of the insurrection, he has several dedicated tweets about how unfair it is that InfoWars host Owen Shroyer got 2 months behind bars for his involvement with January 6th.
Okay.
So this guy, Owen, he walked up to the Capitol, didn't go in the building, but has been for a long time inciting people, all this shit. He violated laws that do have like a minimum 1 year sentence. Prosecutors were suggesting 4 months. He got 2 months, and Chase is pissed.
2 months is, I wouldn't personally want to go to jail for 2 months, but 2 months is not.
There are people
crazy.
going to jail for 22 years.
Yeah.
For January 6th shit. And if you go on Chase's podcast, thing, which I did on incognito so that my fucking algorithm's not fucked up.
Crazy.
Yeah, doesn't get crazy.
Yeah,
I went and who are guests on Chase Geyser's podcast? Well, we have founder of the Proud Boys, Gavin McGinnis.
Great.
Trump's former BFF, Steve Bannon. Steven
to his mother.
Steven to his mother. Drop the skincare, Steve. And my personal favorite, this was my favorite guest he's ever had, Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert.
The Dilbert guy.
The Dilbert guy who is fucking weird.
Yeah, guys, put another pin in
that
discourse,
because that's a whole other discourse.
But when you have time, if you didn't already know, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the Dilbert creator.
Dilbert guy is crazy. Okay, so Elise, what are your impressions of Chase Geyser? Does this sound like someone you would like to associate yourself with?
I'm going to say no. I don't think that he and I have a lot of points of connection personally. And I think it's probably better if we just live separate lives.
Great. And that leads us to why he's trending this week.
Great.
Because I would have never heard about this guy, be it for this next tweet that I'm going to share with you. So in this tweet, Chase Geyser posts a screenshot with a caption, just got this from my best friend of over 10 years.
Okay.
So let's do a dramatic reading. Elise, why don't you read for the role of best friend and I will read for the role of Chase. To be trigger warning, I do not endorse any of his views, and I'm just, this is the language that he used. So I am Chase. Ready?
Okay.
It's probably just me being. That's what he said. But I know.
Strong start.
So this is what he sends. It's probably just me being. But I've been getting a distant vibe from you lately, man. Is everything okay?
I wonder why someone would want to read it. I love using a slur in your text about hey, why have you been pulling away?
A for me, yeah.
Okay.
So what does his friend say?
Blah. Man, we'll always be old friends. Our lives have taken us in incredibly different directions. I try constantly to reconcile my feelings of genuine brotherhood with you while being honest with myself. I think you, somewhere in the last 2 to 3 years, spun too far away. The people you've decided to align yourself with are not people I want associated with me, even by second or third degree. I do fully respect that it's none of my business and you're providing for your family. And I respect that you're allowed to say whatever you want. I don't intend to change your mind on anything, truly. I know I wouldn't if I tried anyway. You're much too smart and driven to back down now. In a way, I respect that. I just wish I respected how you felt and what you said. It's just weird for me now. I realize it seems disingenuous to say I care about you and your family after all of the above, but I do still. I accept any weirdness as a consequence for saying all of this.
All right. And now I'm going to read what Chase wrote. Thanks for taking the time to respond, man. I always thought that our friendship transcended our political differences. For me, it always has and still does. Is your sentiment that our friendship has run its course and we should amicably part ways?
I'm at an impasse. You are and always have been an amazing friend.
Wow. And Elise, what is your reaction to that? What do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like this friend was as nice as humanly possible and like hit all of the points that you should hit of like, I respect you, that you're allowed to think what you want, but it's too much for me. Like there's a lot that's not being said that you can read between the lines. That's like, you are hateful. You used a slur actually moments ago
to address me.
You opened the conversation.
Yeah, with a slur.
Yeah. With a slur. So, I mean, I feel like this is a sentiment that should be considered a respectful way to part ways over political differences. But I'm guessing.
Well, Elise. Naturally, Chase and all his friends on the right were confused. Why would anyone do this? So in the comments, somebody said, so he shared this, like, isn't this ridiculous? Like, just got this.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote to him and said, your former best friend is not cutting you off due to political differences. He's cutting you off due to differences of morals and values. Conspiracy theorists will never take accountability for the falsehoods and the hate that they spread, just like your idol, Alex Jones. Chase's response, Elise, you know him so well.
Like referring to Alex Jones?
No, talking about his friend. He's like, you don't know why my friend stopped talking me out. So that's the thing, right?
The friend is really clear about why he stopped talking to him and actually didn't
insult him.
Yeah, stopped short being like, I care about you. I care about your family. I respect that you have hateful views, which is like even nice.
I would never even say that.
But, and this is, I mean, I imagine that Chase is the type of person who's like, why can't you say anything anymore? You can't say anything anymore. But then someone can't tell you, yeah, I don't want to be your friend.
Well, and that's where, so the discourse on, the right leaning Twitter is all that, which this is a tweet that Tim Young tweeted, and it said, leftists will give up lifelong friendships because they're too mentally weak to accept differing opinions. So that was what really struck me, is that the discourse became on the right, became, wow, snowflakes, they can't even accept someone's different opinions, this and that. Where the discourse on the left is like, yeah, if your opinion is hateful and spewing hate, it's not like tax differences and all that. It's outright fascism.
Yeah, and it's also like, this guy isn't just like, I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat. It's like, this guy has a hugely popular podcast where he platforms some of the worst people in our politics.
Yeah.
On the view of someone who's a leftist. Obviously, people on the right don't view it that way. But like, as someone who is on the political left, it's not just like you're associating with a random run-of-the-mill Republican and it's like, he's my friend and we don't talk about politics. This is someone whose
entire income is based.
Yeah, whose income is based on that, who's promoting all this stuff. I imagine it's not something, you can't like follow this person without seeing that kind of stuff. It's not like just like, oh, I have a cousin who's Republican. Yeah. It's like, this guy is an operative of the right.
Yeah. And that's what, again, and other comments were like, some people, something about like the right side of history and the wrong side of history, it's like, I applaud this guy for standing up to you and saying and putting that boundary down. Because he's on the right side, whatever. And what Chase said was like, everyone thinks they're on the right side of history. That's why it's ridiculous to cut someone off for that. So that is just something that I thought was really interesting. And as there's all these conversation as online and media platforms really incentivize radicalization and hate content and content that makes you mad. And if you produce, content that's like moderate or any kind of like that doesn't get the numbers as much as, again, platforming the most hateful people, saying the most incendiary things, especially on the right. That's what's going to get more clicks and more whatever. But the consequence is you're going to lose like these real life interactions. And this just got me thinking, like, which is just a common theme that we're probably going to see on and on again. And it's like, yeah, you can say whatever you want, but there are always going to be consequences. That's why he's, this guy, Chase specifically, is so offended that InfoWars guy got 2 months in jail. He's like, he's practicing his first amendment speech, or like his, amendment right to say whatever you want, freedom of speech. That's what these guys always say. But I think they believe that freedom of speech means freedom of consequences. And it's like, you can say whatever you want. You can, make incendiary reports about how January 6th or this election is a fraud and all that. You can say whatever, but it has consequences.
Well, yeah. And it's always like, their view of freedom of speech is just output. Like, I should be able to put out anything, but I shouldn't have to hear a response.
I shouldn't have to hear a response, and I shouldn't have to get any effect of what I'm saying.
Right.
To them, it's just like, well, I'm just going to say whatever I want. And like, that's, and it's just like.
Like, isn't it his friend's freedom of speech and choice and whatnot to say, I don't want to be friends anymore?
No, he's mentally weak. At least.
He's mentally weak.
That's what's happening. Okay. So this was just interesting. And it just reminded me of, everything goes back to a date I went on.
Absolutely.
But I went on a date in 2018 with this guy, and on the date, I find out that guy had voted for Trump, and he plans on voting for Trump again. So I said, like, why would you think that I would want to go out with, like, no, you voted for Trump. Like, I don't think there's anything to talk about here. Like, that's fine. And you can do that. And he called me closed-minded, mentally, all these things. Weak. It's like mentally weak. It's like, well, politics are not that important to me. So why does that even matter? Why does it matter who I voted for? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of a socialist. So, and he's like, well, that's just stupid. And it's like, so it does matter to you. So it does matter to you. And it's also like, you can vote for whoever you want, but you don't have access to date cool black girl, like, comedians that live in New York City. Like, that is what you're giving up.
It's also very funny to be like, I don't care about politics, but I am going to vote for like the most inflammatory sort of extreme candidate possible, as opposed to a Joe Biden who is the most milquetoast, run of the mill, middle of the road. Like if you don't care about politics and you think everything should just be like, milk, whatever, that's who Joe Biden is.
But this guy does care about politics.
Exactly, but
he just says it's not an important factor in his life, or like whatever, right?
And what did you vote for him to do? If you
he does believe in, but that's the thing. It's like it's exactly the thing. He wants to vote for whoever he wants because he does believe that Joe Biden is providing. And he even said, Joe Biden improved our economy, like crazy shit. But then he's like, but I don't want that to limit or I don't want to feel the consequences of making that political decision. I want to live my life and date whoever I put. And it's just like, no, baby. That's not how it goes. You can vote for whoever and say whatever you want online and do whatever, but you have to accept the fact that people are not going to want to fuck with you. People are not going to want to fuck you. Like, that is life. So it goes.
And I think that brings us to our final segment. This is a segment that we call Grasshole of the Week. And this is a segment in which we find someone online who needs to log off more than anyone else. Sometimes they'll be bad. Sometimes they might be neutral, good, well. and we just want them the best for them. And I think that maybe this one falls into the latter, that category. So today we're going to be, our Grasshole of the Week is the woman who runs the Timothée Chalamet stan account, Club Chalamet. So a lot of this info that we're going to say is coming from a Jezebel article written by our dear friend Katie Ruth Ashcraft, who we love very much, and we salute her for compiling this information. So,
and just to let you know, Timothée Chalamet is 27 years old.
Keep in mind, Timothée Chalamet is 27 years old. The Club Chalamet Stan account, it's been really going through it lately. For anyone who's not...
And what's a Stan account for our new people who are not online?
And God bless you. A Stan account...
You don't know what a Stan account is? Hug your kids, dog.
Exactly. You probably know everything about him because you don't know about this. But anyway, so a Stan account is basically like a Twitter or an Instagram.
Or TikTok.
Yeah, that's like dedicated to a specific celebrity, and they have this like very fervent posting style where like any update about this person is going to make it to the Stan account.
And literally everyone has a Stan account. Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. Like there's a multiple Ana de Armas.
Yeah, Ana de Armas has a lot of Stan accounts. People love Ana de Armas updates is one of the big ones.
Yeah, and it's like if she goes to a red carpet, anything that they do.
Anything related to this person is making it on the Stan account. So one of the big ones, and this is it has both a Twitter and an Instagram, is called Club Chalamet. And Club Chalamet has been going through it lately because, as many of you perhaps have heard, Timothée Chalamet is dating Kylie Jenner, and they have been seen out and about. And Club Chalamet does not like this. So very recently, after Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner were spotted at the Beyonce concert, Club Chalamet posted it's like a screenshot of an Instagram story, but they posted it to Grid. And it says, if you're feeling distressed by the video, this is a video of them making out
at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, this was a video
at the Renaissance.
Yes, if you're feeling distressed by the video, it's okay, but please take care of yourself. Step away from social media for a couple of days. Don't attack or criticize Timothée. Too much money and a hard time went into publicly harassing him, and it finally paid off for those people. I'll get into what Club Chalamet means by this, but do you think that Club Chalamet took their own advice and stepped away?
Absolutely not. I mean, it's the kind of antithetical to having a Stan account.
Yeah, you can't, when you run into Timothée Chalamet's Stan account and he's being publicly seen with Kylie Jenner, you can't step away. So basically, what Club Chalamet believes is that Kris Jenner has blackmailed Timothée Chalamet into dating Kylie Jenner.
I mean, conspiracy theory, but some conspiracy theories have
I guess
legs.
my question would just be what does Kris Jenner have on Timothée Chalamet? So after posting, telling people to step down, Club Chalamet posted, it's a meme of Matthew McConaughey smoking a cigarette and looking at his phone, and it's with this long caption. It's extremely long, but basically it's, hey guys, I woke up an extra half hour to see if there were any further developments overnight, and it does get worse. After months and months of gossip media bombardment, gossip speculation from the Kay Jenner camp, her people stalking Timmy's private residence, and his obvious avoidance of her, it has finally paid off, and her primary objective has been met. Timothée has now played her hand and relented. Based on all the DMs I have received, fans are absolutely devastated and disappointed. I don't know what more I can say to alleviate your pain and heartache. I truly sympathize with you. Again, please take some time away from social media to tend to your mental health. Ma'am, listen to your own words. This goes on and on. But basically, yes, it is this. She thinks that they stalked Timothée Chalamet into agreeing to date Kylie Jenner, etc. So they're posting all of this. But then, on September 11th, Club Chalamet takes a break from posting about Timothée Chalamet to say, once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker. On July 2001, I turned down a job opportunity that was located on the 102nd floor of the World Trade Center. Although the money was exceptional, the job was going to steer me in a financial direction that I didn't want. Also, my gut instinct was on high alert to the point that I felt something was terribly wrong about the opportunity. I declined the job, and I've never done anything I'd never done that before in my life before or after. Always trust your gut. It's the universe trying to tell you something. Hashtag 9/11. Never forget. Hashtag NYC. This woman is 57 years old. The woman who runs the Timothée Chalamet Stan account is 57 years old.
That's crazy. And lives in America, because a lot of the Stan accounts are like Brazilian teenagers.
This is a 57-year-old American woman. People start retweeting this being like, who the fuck runs Club Chalamet? That you were taking a job offer in July 2001. It turns out that she had actually been profiled in Refinery 29 in 2019. So her name is Simone Cromer, and she says that She says she started Club Chalamet because she wanted to help carve out a niche fan base of mature, well-balanced adult in support of his career.
Girl.
This is a 27-year-old man who looks like he's 15 years old.
He literally plays a teen in everything.
He looks like a French teenager.
Yeah.
Hot.
You know I think it's hot.
Well, he is 27.
Yeah.
He is 27, fine. So it's fine to say.
He looks like a hot little, you know.
Simone Cromer, mama.
Touch grass.
Touch grass. You got to take your own advice and log off. And you really need to, I think you really need to wonder why it is you're posting daily updates about
Timothée Chalamet.
Timothée Chalamet. So that's our grasshole of the week. We wish her well. We hope that she can get in contact with some of her family members, maybe spend a weekend
Take your own advice. Take care of your mental health. Your mental health is obviously bad.
Yeah.
If you
step away, I get it. You don't want to see your boy dating Kylie Jenner, but
I mean, same with Bad Bunny. But listen, it's part of life.
The thing
Men
is,
make bad decisions. That's part of loving them.
When you're standing a 27-year-old man, you can't be upset if he's like, actually, I'm going to date Kylie Jenner for a little while. That's exactly where Timothée Chalamet is
in his life.
In his life cycle of like, I'm going to date Kylie
They're like,
Jenner.
oh, there's this whole conspiracy. And it's like, or maybe he just likes to get laid and like, there's this other famous person and whatever.
A specific type of hot that maybe is what he's interested in this moment.
Sure.
This is the heartbreak that you put yourself up for if you're a 57-year-old woman and you're standing a 27-year-old A-list actor.
Well, everyone, that's our show. Until the next time, please go outside, talk to your family, and
touch some grass.